impressive. Robert Kimdichie is an amazing athlete, and I don't think that anyone can question that. But there's a lot of questions about Robert Kimdichie. Okay. First off, there's questions about his work ethic and his passion for football. He himself has admitted to taking plays off. So this is a problem, right? Already. For me, I will take a risk on a guy with off the field issues. Personally, this is my personal philosophy. I've never been a general manager of a football organization. So what the heck do I know? I'm just saying, if a guy's got character issues, if he's talented enough, and by the way, other GMs do this, so it's not me. It's not I'm just some crazy guy saying stuff. If a guy's got character issues, sure, maybe you don't take him in the top 5. But I think Kimdichie's still a first rounder. But do you take a guy who's saying I take plays off on the field? That's scary to me. So there's red flag number 1. It's a very large red flag. Robert Kimdichie obviously having more red flags than the Chinese national team. He's just got a ton of them, and the lack of awareness with him, he doesn't seem to be aware that the things that are red flags are red flags. Okay, he fell out of a 4-story window, and it's just a one-time incident. That's what he thinks it is. That's how he describes it. It's just like a one-time thing. Like, no, it's a one-time thing for some people, but you have a history that is becoming increasingly checkered. You're charged with possession of marijuana, and that's only because the police officer couldn't see you as having signs of being high. Okay, you say you were just drunk, but he says it looks suspicious. The officer can't prove that you were high, but the weed is in your room. So he's like, watch the company you keep. This is according to the ESPN article by Seth Wickersham about Robert Kimdichie. Just be careful with who you spend your company with. So Robert Kimdichie is involved in this situation. And then another red flag is his brother Denzel is seen as a bad influence on him. And teams are asking him, can you step away from your brother a little bit? Which is something that the teams are worried about. If teams are that worried about you and your brother, he might really, really be a bad influence on you. Now, here's the thing. I'm in a situation where I live with my brother. Me and my brother are roommates in an apartment. And I don't control my brother's life. But we have a lot of similar interests. And we have a lot of similar friends. And we hang out with similar people. So I understand the concerns of NFL teams. But is that actually a thing that you can ask somebody to do? To not be with their family? To basically tell them to say to their family, all right, man, like I got to go live real life now. You need to buzz off. I think there is a point in life where you do need to step away from family, where family can be damaging to you. But I don't know that that's step number 1. That ought to be last resort, because in the end, all you've got is your family. You can't just ditch them and turn your back on them. And if you do so for money, if you do so because some NFL GM who's not your family told you to ditch your family, like, what does that say about you if you are that willing to do that? I think that's too much of a team to ask. But his brother Denzel is a red flag. I don't think that that's unfair to mark him as a red flag. Also, as a red flag, just a side thing, I don't think that maybe it's specifically a red flag, but certainly Robert Kimdichie wants a Panther. He wants a Panther, like an actual, not a Carolina Panther, like a for real life Panther. And, is this crazy? Robert Kimdichie doesn't think that owning a Panther, an actual animal of prey, is crazy. He does not think that this is insane. He said, if it really scares somebody, I'll just put him away. Man, Robert Kimdichie is going to get somebody mauled. And that's going to be the most interesting headline ever that anyone ever had for any story about why a guy wasn't in the NFL. Like, why Johnny Manziel's not in the NFL? It's reasons that we've all seen before. It's partying, it's girls, it's alcohol, it's drugs. We've all seen that before. The guy won't commit to the game, or he's lazy. Like, these are things we've heard before. Never in the history of the league, to my knowledge, and I hope that there aren't other stories that I'm missing on this one, has anyone been kicked out of the league because their pet mauled somebody, except Robert Kimdichie might do that because he wants a for real Panther. And he's totally okay with its existence. Like, that, it just makes perfect sense to him. Okay, Robert. All right, bud. Would you give millions of dollars to somebody like Robert Kimdichie? Okay? An NFL team is an organization. You've got to follow rules. You've got to find yourself unified behind one leader. On the defense, you find yourself behind usually the middle linebacker, but it could be other voices on that team. The quarterback is also a leader on the team. The coach is also a leader that you've got to listen to. Like, you've got to follow orders. And Robert Kimdichie comes off to me as a hippie. Now, he does like Pink Floyd, which I can't fault him for that taste in music. That is, I'm okay with that. But he's kind of like a hippie. He's just a free spirit. Stuff speaks to him. He just one day decided to pick up according to the article, he decided to pick up the saxophone and start playing it because he bumped into Morgan Freeman at a party and wanted to impress him. Like, it's just, he just does things kind of on a whim. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't know if you have any kind of free spirit friends, those kind of people that you can't nail them down. They sort of do whatever they feel like. Their philosophy of life is just really vague. They don't seem to do anything in particular. They just sort of drift over here. They drift over there. Maybe randomly they like poetry. I don't know. But like, Robert Kimdichie's not a guy that fits your stereotypical NFL player. Nor does he seem interested in doing so. And I think that's costing him money. I don't think he's wrong. I mean, you got to be yourself, man. I don't think you should change for money. But at the same time, you know, the NFL draft process, it's long, okay? They've been watching you since high school. Like, especially Robert Kimdichie was a #1 prospect in the country coming out of high school. They've been watching Robert Kimdichie since high school. Okay? They know who you are. They go back through your background. They invade your privacy on a level that would make the NSA blush. They don't care. They want to know everything about you. But I don't think they have to know everything about Robert Kimdichie, because the stuff that he's just willing to naturally say speaks volumes enough. How much money are you willing to give to a hippie that might not try that hard while he's playing football for you? I don't know, but I wish that Robert Kimdichie would try and keep some of this stuff under wraps, at least until after he got drafted, and then nobody can do anything about it. Because it seems to me like he's costing himself money. Like, a lot of money. Just shh. You know, it's the same thing. Like, Johnny Manziel did the same thing. Johnny Manziel living the party life, and he's like, I'm going to live how I'm going to live. I'm going to do my thing. Like, it wasn't until he realized, like, okay, my job is in danger of not being my job that he started to pull things together. Now, Robert Kimdichie is no Johnny Manziel, okay? Johnny Manziel, it has problems, like problems mentally beyond just sheer stupidity. And I'm not saying Robert Kimdichie is stupid either. He's not. I mean, if you've ever heard the guy talk, he's not. He's a very bright guy, but he's prone to making silly mistakes because of the company that he keeps, and his brother doesn't help any of that. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I don't know how much money to give Robert Kimdichie, but teams are wary of him, and I totally understand why. I just do. And I know that there's a whole thing about he's powerless in this particular part of the negotiating process, that like, you're at the mercy of every team. If you want to be drafted, you just don't say stupid stuff. But like, nothing's stopping you from not saying stupid stuff now and then like saying all of the dumbness that you want after you get drafted and sign on the dotted line. They might panic a little bit at that point, but they've already drafted you and used a high draft pick on you, so they're just going to have to live with what they get. I don't see anything wrong with that. But let's change gears here over to Johnny Manziel, because Johnny Manziel has done more Johnny Manziel things, and it's sad. It makes me sad. I don't want to talk about Johnny Manziel in a lot of ways, but he needs help. He needs help. Like, these are not things anymore where it's like, oh, He's so stupid. Why would he throw away his career like that? He would throw away his career like that because he's got serious problems, man. And I think they're drug problems. And I've told you this for a while, that there's just pictures have shown up on Twitter of Johnny Manziel rolling up a dollar bill with what appears to be a white substance on the counter of a bathroom in Las Vegas. I mean, those are drug problems. And it's not like, oh, I smoke a little weed because I play football and the game hurts. I just like doing drugs. That's Johnny Manziel's problem. I really shouldn't speak that in the first person. That just like somebody just turned on their radio and just heard I like doing drugs. I do not like doing drugs, actually. Children, don't do drugs. Your career will end like Johnny Manziel's. Johnny Manziel's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, has dropped Johnny Manziel for Johnny Manziel's safety, so that Johnny can get the help that he needs. Johnny is out in Los Angeles partying for the music festival that is Coachella. I follow this stuff because I love music. I'm a huge music fan. I listen to like everything, just everything. There isn't a genre of music I don't find at least listenable. Like, I like most of it, and then some of it, like the stuff I don't like, I can at least listen to it and appreciate it. Like, I don't listen to a ton of metal, but I can listen to it and appreciate it. I don't listen to a ton of country, but I can listen to it and appreciate it, and I understand. And like, there's definitely country songs that are classics that I love. So I mean, I just follow a ton of music, and so I'm looking up Coachella stuff. Oh, look, Johnny Manziel's in the news. Johnny Manziel is in Coachella partying away while NFL opportunities are passing him by because he can't stop partying. And Johnny Manziel goes to somebody's house. Okay, he rents out the house for the weekend, just a couple of days, and he parties in the house because it's Johnny. I don't know what else anybody expected. He parties in the house, and in this $4.5 million house, Johnny Manziel and the people that he partied with, they do $32,000 in damage. The owners come back to the house. Johnny Manziel and company are supposed to have checked out by noon. Johnny Manziel is passed out on the couch at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. There's booze and drugs of all kinds, including cocaine, marijuana, and mushrooms. So this was a big party. The owner is suing Johnny Manziel for the damages to his property, as he probably should. Johnny Manziel is just out of control here. He promised the owner to use the home for his own personal use. Okay, that there wouldn't be a ton of people coming in and out of the house. That's what the owner took from my own personal use. Apparently, what Johnny Manziel thought the phrase "my own personal use" was, my own personal use, to throw a party for me personally and like 40 other people, or whatever the number was. Johnny Manziel thought that was totally cool. And they threw multiple parties, 2 parties, according to the security footage of the house. And the house and the place was completely trashed. Just completely trashed. And I don't know who is more at fault here, because I think they're both at fault. The owner is at fault, and Johnny is at fault. They're both at fault. Johnny is obviously at fault. When you do $32,000 of damages in somebody's house, that's not your house. That's your fault, right? We all have that friend that you say, oh yeah, let's get together and watch the game on Sunday. You know this person's going to come in your house, break at least one item, come through and eat up all the food that you have in the house that was for everybody. You know this person. You do. If you don't, you are this person. This the person I'm talking about is you. And you need a serious long look in the mirror. Like a real long look. Johnny Manziel's that guy. The difference between Johnny Manziel and that guy in your friend group is a quick Google search would have let you know that Johnny Manziel is that guy. There's no way I rent out my house to Johnny Manziel. I'll rent out my house to a lot of people. I won't rent out my house to Johnny Manziel. And I mean, I won't rent it out to Johnny. You mean the current biggest partier in sports? Johnny Manziel, who's been partying since before he was in the league, during his time in the league, And now what looks like after his time in the league, Johnny Manziel, who can't stop partying to literally save his NFL career, that's the guy you're going to rent your house to? And again, quick Google search. Okay? If you Google me, Keon Rose, you get my Facebook page. You Google Johnny Manziel, you get articles on articles on articles of how Johnny Manziel can't stop partying. A quick Google search would have literally saved you $32,000 in damages. That's on you, buddy. You just have to know. I'm not saying that Johnny's absolved of all guilt. I'm just saying. You got to be up on that information, my friend. This is Clutch with Keon Rose here on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Does the University of Georgia have a little brother complex? I think they want to be Alabama. Next.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds has got on his sunglasses. He's buying so many glittering diamonds today, he's almost going blind looking at the haul. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, come on in today. He'll give you top dollar on a sparkling field of diamonds, an ocean of value that he wants to convert into cash for you. Come on in today, sell your diamonds. You'll get the biggest wad of dollars anywhere for your gleaming diamond. Rick Diamonds Golden Diamonds. Rick wants to meet you in person today. Diamonds, Rick loves them. He'll take your diamonds and gold and you'll walk out with ready-made money in your pocket. Hundreds, 50s, 20s, and $10 bills. Cash, cash, cash at Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Rick Davis, Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. Cash, 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 and more cash.
Expect fair skies to continue through the nighttime. Comfortable again overnight, lows 50 to 53. For Tuesday, some sunshine mixing with a few afternoon clouds, but dry and warm. Highs 82 to 85 with more warm and dry weather and a few more clouds for Wednesday. Your kids can sharpen their acting skills at the Summer Musical Theater Camp at Abbas House in Hickson. Elementary Camp meets June 13th through the 20th. Advanced Camp 27th through July 1st. Register at abbashouse.com/musiccamp. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
On AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Adam Disco, the owner and the head surgeon of Cell Surgeon. Broken screen? You need it repaired now. We can do that. We'll have your phone repaired within the hour. No hassle, no mess, no stress. We love fixing cell phones. Your cell phone has become part of your daily activities. You've noticed your cell phone is not charging properly. It could be a charge port issue or your charger. Come in for free. We'll test your phone and your charger. You have an expensive phone. Don't feed it with a cheap charger. A cheap charger can actually damage your device. Our high-quality chargers are affordable. Cell Surgeon, 140 Northgate Mall Drive, right next to Old Chicago Pizza. 423-668-0100. www.thecellsurgeon.com. Please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thecellsurgeon.
Get $10 off a screen repair. Mention Hot News Talk Radio. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out. Cell Surgeon in Northgate Mall next Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I'm really interested in Robert Kimdichie, man. He seems like an interesting dude. Now, would I give him millions of dollars? That I couldn't answer to you. But if you're an NFL team and you're worried about it, I get it. I get it. I remember early on when the first mock draft started coming out, Robert Kimdichie was in the top 5. And then along the process somewhere, Robert Kimdichie got, caught up in so much stuff. He's an all-American athlete. He got caught up in so much stuff. He ended up getting bumped to the second round. From top 5 to second round is a very large departure. And the reason why someone would think that you could go from top 5 to second round is the stuff that you were doing off of the field makes so little sense and is so difficult to reason, or they just find it so asinine that they think that your quality drops. You're just you're going to be a great player if you're on the field. For someone to drop you from top 5 to second round in a mock draft, whether it be Kuiper or McShay or Bucky Brooks or anybody that that's making mock drafts, any of these guys, for them to drop you that far, and again, he's come back up into the first round, but certainly not anywhere near the top 5 that we thought he could be taken. It's because nobody trusts Robert Kimdichie off the field. And it's weird because it's not like he's impolite or insincere or not nice. He doesn't come off as rude or anything like that. It's just literally you mistrust his judgment. You just can't put your faith in it. And so, yeah, Robert Kimdichie has said that he would like to own a Panther. I think that is a terrible idea. I think most people would think that is a terrible idea. Robert Kimdichie doesn't think that this is a terrible idea, which usually is the mark of a crazy person. Usually, the crazy people think that their horrible ideas are great ideas, right? Like the running joke of the last words said before someone gets seriously injured is "Dude, hold my beer." It seemed like a great idea at the time. It's just a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. Maybe sober it out here. Let's not make any rash decisions. This is the Robert Kimdichie life. How else does one fall out of a 4-story window and not really recall how it is that happened? And refer to the incident as not really a big deal. Robert Kimdichie doesn't have that self-awareness, but he's also a defensive player. So, if you were a quarterback, this would be horrifying, right? Because that's the position. Shane Ray last year from Missouri. I don't know if you remember. Shane Ray got had to fight through all of these claims that he's gonna mess his life up because drugs are a big problem for him, and marijuana. He got caught with marijuana. And he said, no, I fixed it. I've changed everything. I'm not going to go back and do that again. And then the week before the draft, Shane Ray gets caught for possession of marijuana. And you're like, dude, what the heck? Seriously. How does this happen? How does this even happen? And of course, he still gets drafted in the first round. He gets taken by, of all teams, the Denver Broncos, where in Colorado, where marijuana is legal. So who knows, right? But with Kimdichie, Kimdichie doesn't come off as he comes off in a similar way to me as Shane Ray, where it's just smart guys. They don't look like bad dudes. They're just low in the self-awareness department, where like all of this should not be something like talk about your Panther after they draft you. If you want to terrify them after they draft you, fine. But dude, don't talk about having a Panther now. That just shows poor judgment. A panther is a creature of prey. It eats stuff to survive. It eats living things to live. Okay? It's not like you said you wanted a giraffe, which would also be ridiculous, but hey, giraffe, not going to kill somebody. Panther might actually maul one of your guests. And then what do? I don't want to read the headline, former Mississippi player and NFL player Robert Kimdichie arrested after Panther mauls guest. That's a terrible headline. And right now, every NFL team in the league is imagining that headline and wondering if they shouldn't run the opposite direction from Robert Kimdichie. That's weird. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 News Talk Radio. Panthers, man. Flipping Panthers. I want to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. They, to me, ever since they fired Mark Richt, they have been the most fascinating team in college football because their desire, their strong desire to beat Alabama is awesome. Like, they want everything that Alabama has. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Okay, first off, everybody wants what Alabama has. And if everybody doesn't want what Alabama has, they're crazy, ignore them. Everybody wants what Alabama has. A dynasty, that's amazing. Despite the fact that watching Alabama play football is about as interesting as watching grass grow sometimes, they still draw the huge numbers because of how much they win. You pretty much expect Alabama to roll through everybody. You never doubt Alabama, and then when you do, you look stupid, and then Nick Saban tells you that you should feel stupid for doubting Alabama. Who doesn't want that? You've got a superstar coach. You've got a dynasty. You've got a machine of a program that wins year in and year out and is always expected to be in the mix. Who doesn't want that? A team with a clear identity. You should want to be Alabama. If you don't, you're nuts. But Georgia, like, really, really wants to be Alabama to a level I have not seen in a lot of other teams. First off, they hire Kirby Smart, who was Alabama's defensive coordinator. And sure, all right, fine, Kirby Smart did go to Georgia. Sure, fine, yes. But Alabama's big identity is defense, and you hire their defensive coordinator to be your head coach. Georgia and Alabama. Okay? And one thing that Alabama had that Georgia didn't have, spring practice attendance record. And they're getting all of the expectations that Alabama has too. That comes with being Alabama, is the expectation that you win every year. Like, your fans want you to win every year. Right? For an Alabama fan, if you go to the national title game and you lose, your season has been an abject failure. Alabama doesn't go to national championships and lose. Alabama doesn't go to the playoffs and just lose. And if they do, it's not rioting, but their fans aren't pleased. Crimson Tide fans want victory because they expect it. That's the expectation that gets built up for them, and it's delivered to them very frequently. Okay? Some people call it being spoiled, call it what you want, but that's the expectation, and it gets delivered. If you want to be Alabama, and you start building up these Alabama-like expectations, which you've got the quarterback, okay, freshman quarterback, Jacob Eason, if he's able to take the reins this year, you've got the quarterback that everyone's excited about. You've got a defense that possibly everyone's excited about. If Nick Chubb comes back, you've got a running back that everyone's excited about. People are starting to put these expectations on you, and if you want everything that Alabama had, you're going to catch some of these expectations too, where your fans are going to start wanting you to win and win right away. Okay? So, to add further fuel to this particular fire, Kirby Smart wanted 93,000 fans to show up to the first spring practice game, which the previous SEC record was 92,310, which is a record that Alabama had. And you know what? They did it. They convinced 93,000 people to come. Georgia's previous record for people showing up to spring training was 46,000. That was last season. Mark Richt's last season. They smashed through that record. They now have the SEC record for spring practice game attendance. But when people show up in the spring to watch you play spring football, they're going to expect a whole lot of good action in the fall. Don't build up expectations that you can't deliver on yet. And we don't know if you can. Not saying that you won't either, but it's interesting to me that you've built up these expectations, and I hope that you know what to do with them. If you're Georgia, if you want the glitz and the glamour of Alabama and you want the attendance record, you're gonna build the expectation like Bama, you better deliver like Bama. So this college football season in the SEC, this is going to be fantastic. I am excited. I don't see Georgia winning the East, which is part of the reason why this drama is great. You see it from a mile out. Tennessee ought to win the East, right? But Georgia's building this thing up like we've got national title aspirations. I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't know if this is something you just sit back and just watch the flames rise higher, or if Georgia actually delivers, that would also be awesome. That would be amazing if Georgia actually delivered on that. Because the promises are being told right now, okay? The checks are being written. Can they cash it later, though? Because I don't want to get a receipt that says insufficient funds later. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. Have you registered for our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series 1, 2, 3 contest? You can do so at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. $124 in cash weekly and $124 in Five Guys food. If you enter the contest, simply go to that location, Carter's Shooting Supplies, and a few other Hot News Talk Radio locations. And you can fill out your guess for who's going to be first, second, and third in the upcoming NASCAR Cup Series race this weekend, which we got to talk a little bit about that, because that situation in Bristol with those empty seats, I don't know about all that. But you can figure out who's going to win in that race. And if you guess it correctly, you'll win $124 in cash and $124 in Five Guys food, which Five Guys is like one of the best burger places out there. So you really don't have any excuse, to be completely honest. And it's free to enter. Listen in the morning on Monday to hear your name called. Listen at 11 to hear your name called to see if you won, and you get an opportunity to win tickets to a Sprint Cup Series race this week as well. So come on. Get in here, enjoy the fun. Also, if you'd like to reach Hot News Talk Radio, check out our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube page. And if you want to get at me personally, you can tweet me at SportsCloud. Join the conversation. You can listen to all of our episodes live. We stream all of our local shows on YouTube, and you can check us out on hotnewstalkradio.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Simply search Hot News Talk Radio. Give us a favorite, press play, and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. So I want to revisit satellite camps a little bit. And the reason why I want to revisit satellite camps is because the NCAA wants to revisit satellite camps. The NCAA has banned satellite camps. Okay, that thing that Jim Harbaugh was doing where he was just showing up and having the opportunity to recruit in an area where his school is not located, which if you are a team from the north where you're not generating talent, not football talent anyway, and at least not at the rate that the South is doing it. Okay, Florida, Texas, California, you have a lot of talent. Okay, Georgia produces a lot of talent. Tennessee produces a lot of talent. Mississippi produces a lot of talent, football talent. And Jim Harbaugh and other schools wanted in on the action. And I mean, this is not new. Satellite camps aren't new. I think Jim Harbaugh is a guy that will take a thing to its extreme case. Like, people may have had a trouble with satellite camps before, but let's be completely honest. Satellite camps have been in existence. Jim Harbaugh just took it to its logical extreme, and he took it to the extreme of its logical extreme. But believe me, these things have existed. But once Jim Harbaugh does it, it becomes annoying because he can't help himself. First off, Jim Harbaugh is smug. Okay? If you've ever met a more smug human being, please let me know. If there is one in existence, Jim Harbaugh, him and his khaki pants, are the most smug things that walk this earth. 1. 2, when Jim Harbaugh gets an idea in his head, he does the idea 100% of the way. He doesn't halfway do a thing. You know what the line from Breaking Bad was? Never take a half measure when a full measure will do. He doesn't halfway do anything. Jim Harbaugh does everything 100%. These two things together, the entire SEC found him annoying. Found it annoying. And they wanted to ban satellite camps. Plus, it's in their interest to do so because you get to keep the talent to yourself. You don't have to share with Big Ten schools. You don't have to share with Pac-12 schools. You don't have to share with anybody if you don't want to. Okay? You just don't have to. And so the SEC bans the satellite camps. Fine, sure. The other conferences ban the satellite, like vote to ban the satellite camps too, which is weird because you'd think that that's in your advantage to come down to the South and recruit, but that's the way the vote went, and the majority won. But the NCAA is going to revisit that decision. According to the Detroit News, Oliver Luck, the NCAA's executive vice president of regulatory affairs, said Monday morning while speaking to a meeting of Northeast Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators, he expects the NCAA to revisit the recent rule to ban satellite camps. Okay, and I think that makes sense, because didn't that decision seem awful quick to you? I think that there was a lot of politicking that happened there, and I forget who it was that said that. I heard in one of the many football podcasts that are out there for college football that for a lot of these conferences to vote for satellite camps, they have to either be incredibly stupid, which I just find hard to believe, or they got politicked into it. You know, you just the wheeling and dealing and the maneuvering. There's some politicking that goes into making these things work out. Okay. And I think they got politicked into it, and I think that is something worth revisiting because it was awful quick, the decision, and it's to the advantage of only the SEC. Okay. Now, when you have the main person promoting satellite camps being Jim Harbaugh, who is smug and sometimes annoying, headstrong, doing things his way 100% of the way, calling out people like Hugh Freeze who don't have any ill will against him, it's hard. It's hard to not just back up Jim Harbaugh. He's not an easy person to back up. He isn't. He doesn't come off that way. And I think that when it comes to the deal of satellite camps, I think satellite camps are ultimately great for college football as a whole. I don't think it takes away from the domination of the SEC, if not because we have the evidence of the SEC continuing to dominate through satellite camps. We've had these forever, and the SEC is still the best conference in college football. Maybe not head and shoulders the best conference, because the Pac-12, I think, is like right there, but better. They're better. Okay. Alabama is better. Tennessee is better. Like, they're just better. Okay. Like, it's just, like, you can't look at the Big 12 and go with no defense playing Baylor and no defense playing TCU and struggling Texas and Oklahoma, who is, I don't know if they're real or not, because certainly Oklahoma got a boost by being Oklahoma last year. You can't have those things happen and go, well, satellite camps are are pulling us all back. They're not. You're still better than those schools. Like, those are really good schools. TCU, Baylor, Oklahoma, those are really good schools, and you're still better than all of them. And that was with satellite camps. And they recruit talent from their own place. Okay? You're not losing to, Ohio State's not winning a title because of satellite camps. Okay? Because they weren't winning before Urban Meyer got there. They were pretty bad. Okay? And they were able to get some with Jim Tressel, but Jim Tressel wasn't doing things legally. Had nothing to do with satellite camps. And I don't know why we're going to make this the giant deal that it is. I think we've overblown it. I think we've gone a little bit too far. This is AM 1240 Odd News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for listening and making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate you. I want to talk about about the Titans because they've made this trade and they've gotten a haul back in return for the number 1 overall pick. They're now picking 15th. They swapped picks with the Rams. And everyone is ready to call this trade the Herschel Walker trade. And I think we need a little bit of historical perspective on the Herschel Walker trade because I think that we're wrong about how we're going about doing this. And we do this all the time with the knee-jerk stuff. Like, here's a big thing that happened, the knee-jerk reaction. Remember when Jimmy Johnson traded Herschel Walker? Yeah, we do remember that. But the draft was different then than it is now, and there's just so many more factors in here. The thing about the Herschel Walker trade, historically, if you remember that trade correctly, and I'm not talking like I was there, okay? I was like 4. But go back and read on it, okay? Go back and read on it. People thought that Jimmy Johnson had just screwed over the Cowboys. People thought Jimmy screwed over the Cowboys. They thought that what he did was trade a great player for potential. Picks didn't have the same weight that they do now. And that turned out in retrospect to be a great trade for Jimmy Johnson because of all the talent that he would later get. But let's not act like at the time everybody knew that was a fantastic idea. That was a fantastic idea in hindsight. It's not a fantastic idea at the time. People were very critical of that and wondered, what the heck is this guy doing trading Herschel Walker? And now you've got the trade. Let's before we do this, let's go back to the last big trade, the one that the Rams were last involved in, where the Redskins traded up to number 2 to get that pick from the Rams, to get Robert Griffin III. And they get their guy. He takes them to the playoffs, by the way. It's not like they got nothing. Robert Griffin started off his career very well. And everyone was saying, look at the Rams. The Rams have pulled off a Herschel Walker type trade. They traded Robert Griffin III, essentially, for a bag full of picks. Except it doesn't make any sense because we didn't know how any of that would turn out. RG3 turned out to not really pan out because of the injuries, and the Rams didn't really pick anybody that has truly transformed that team. Sam Bradford turned out to not be their guy. That wasn't the Herschel Walker trade. And in all likelihood, and I think John Robinson is a great GM for the Titans, this isn't the Herschel Walker trade either. It's a fantastic trade, and I think the Rams will come out on top. But that wasn't a Herschel Walker trade. We don't know yet. We don't have the perspective. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. and they are delicious. Get your Shake, Shake, Shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located at Hickson at North Point, Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center, downtown 4th and Broad, and in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 to find